Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 952A, and today's date is April 22nd, 2016, and the title of the episode is The Economic Contraction Continues as the Economic Collapse Overpowers the Illusion of Recovery. Now, before we get started, I just want to make an announcement. Tomorrow, Saturday, I'll be uploading an interview with Bill Holter. We discuss why Saudi Arabia was threatening to sell some of their assets. We talked about the economy, we talked about the rigging of gold, and where the economy is headed. If you are on the X22 Report email alert system, I'll send you an email. If you're subscribed to the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel, you should get an email from YouTube. If not, come right over to the channel and you'll see the interview. I'm going to try to put this interview up in the morning, so I will send all the information out at that time. Let's get right into the economic collapse financial news. Let's head out to Greece, and when we look at Greece and we go back in time, we see that Greece is a complete disaster. The Eurozone, the IMF, they are continually hammering at Greece. Right now, the Eurozone is saying that Greece must prepare for contingency reform packages. Most likely that means austerity. That means the people are going to have to pay once again. And we're starting to see that Greece is in a recession. Actually, they're really in a collapse. I know the corporate media is calling it a recession, that they're heading back into a recession, but Greece has been collapsing this whole entire time. I mean, look at the unemployment rate. It's upward of 25%. People have taken money out of the banks. They're very nervous. They're very scared. There's more and more austerity on the people. They have a huge amount of debt that they're never going to be able to pay back. There's no way that they're going to spur the industry to start growing out of nowhere, because all around them, we see other countries having the same exact problem. I mean, France, Spain, Italy, UK now, Germany now, and it's continually spreading. And as time goes on, we see it's getting worse and worse. Yes, the bankers tell us that everything is fine. They always tell us it's fine once they place a lot of debt on a country and they say, yeah, look, see, we fixed the problem. They have all this money now. They just owe it back to us with interest. But we're not going to talk about that. They just have enough now to pay their bills and to go on chugging along. And most of the people they pay off are the creditors. And none of it goes to the people. And this shows us that this system, the way they designed it, it doesn't work at all. And it never will work. I mean, the United States is continually amassing more and more debt every day. I mean, it's doubled since Obama took office. And we know that's the debt they're reporting. There's a lot more of it, over 200 trillion. And it's completely impossible for the U.S. taxpayer to pay all this back. And what we're seeing right now is the economy is contracting. It's contracting everywhere. Not just in one industry, not just in retail, but it's contracting in manufacturing, it's contracting in real estate, it's contracting in employment. We're starting to see this coming from all angles at this point. And we're seeing a lot more layoffs in the United States here. ITG Brands in Greensboro, they're laying off 375 people. In Canada, Cameco, laying off 500. Lockheed Martin, 200. Jefferson Community and Technical College, laying off 61. Boeing, South Carolina, 200 people. State of Connecticut, 644 job layoff notices. And we saw that Intel was laying off 12,000 people. And we go back in time, we see a lot more corporations are laying off. And this is continuing. This is ongoing nonstop. And the government continually tries to convince us that their recovery is working, and they convince us with manipulated facts. But when we look at all these different sectors, like retail, we look at housing, we look at the real unemployment, we look at GDP, and we look through the illusion that they're presenting to us, we see a completely different story. And in the retail market, they're trying to convince us that everything is fine, sales are up. The reason why sales aren't doing well is because it's too sunny, it's too cloudy, it's snowing, it's raining. They have one excuse after another. But when we really look at this, why would retail be falling apart? Why would it be contracting? Now, a lot of people say, well, everyone's going to online sales, and that's why. But that doesn't show that's what's happening here. Because you would see an upsurge in online sales, and most of the companies, they have both. They have their brick and mortar store, and they have online sales, and actually they have the best of both worlds. You can order something online and pick it up the same exact day in the store. Or you can have it shipped free to the store and pick it up later if they don't have it in stock. So when you look at online sales, is it really outweighing what is happening in the brick and mortar sector? No, it isn't. And what we're seeing right now is the retail sector, it is getting hammered. Now, of course, there's going to be a lot of layoffs because there's going to be a lot of stores closing. But the funny thing is, the way the U.S. government reports everything, it doesn't really show up in the unemployment numbers, because if you have a part-time job and you're laid off and you work under 25 hours or a certain number of hours, and it's different between each state, they don't count you as being laid off. On the other hand, if you get that part-time job, you're considered in having a full-time job. If you have two part-time jobs, you have two full-time jobs. So you can see how they manipulate these numbers. Now, when we look at the retail market, we see Aeropostale. They have 800 teen clothing stores, and they are preparing for Chapter 11. Actually, I just saw that the stock market is now going to delist them. And they're trying to work out finance. They're trying to stay alive. But all of these bankruptcies, all of these retailers that are going out of business, it is really hurting the U.S. economy. And when we look at this, we can see on April 16th of this year, Vestas Retail Group, the operator of sporting good retailers like Eastern Mountain Sporting Goods, we see Bob's Stores, we see Sport Chalet, they filed for bankruptcy, Chapter 11. And they're not doing well. Soon you will see these stores go out of business. April 7th, 2016, Pacific Sunwear of California. It's a clothing retailer. They closed 600 stores. They filed Chapter 11. March 2nd, 2016, Sports Authority filed Chapter 11 and closing about 140, 150 stores. February 2nd, Hancock Fabrics, Chapter 11 for the second time. It's closed 70 of its retail sewing and crafting stores, and its inventories are being liquidated with going out of business sales at the remaining 185 stores. January 16th, 2015, Wet Seal, teen fashion retailer, filed Chapter 11. October 2015, American Apparel filed for Chapter 11. September 2015, Quicksilver, surfwear retailer, Chapter 11. June 2015, Anna's Linens, Chapter 11. April 2015, Fredericks for Hollywood, Chapter 11. February 2015, Radio Shack. February 2015, Cash. It's a women's dress and formal wear retailer, Chapter 11. January 2015, Body Central, Chapter 11, closing 265 stores. In March, total commercial bankruptcy filings by corporations of all sizes and other businesses jumped 25% from a year ago. And we hear today that Sears and Kmart, they're going to be closing 78 more stores. So if you really look at this closely, it is contracting. It's not moving to online sales. It's not because of the weather. It's because people are being laid off. People do not have work. People do not have the funds to go out and purchase goods. This is the problem. They don't want to admit to that. Actually, they'll never admit to that. We're seeing that U.S. manufacturing PMI. Well, that has declined once again. Now, they thought it was going to be going up to 52. It was at 51.5, but it dropped to 50.8. That was the print. And this is the lowest print since 2009. New orders slid. Employment is very, very weak. And Markit notes U.S. factories reported their worst month for just over 6.5 years in April. And when we look at this, it's very hard to believe that the labor market is strong, because when you look at manufacturing employment, it is a complete disaster. We see that shipbuilders, Hyundai, heavy industries, they're going to be laying off 3,000 staff, and they're going to be out of work. Samsung, heavy industries, they're taking applications for early retirement. Why? Because massive job cuts are coming. So when we hear all of this and we start to go back in time and we put all the pieces together, we see that we're in a failing economy. And it is getting worse. It is not getting better. There is no improvement here. Yes, the U.S. government, they can manipulate the numbers. They can bump it up for 1 month, make it look good in a certain time period. But what happens is, months afterwards and months previous to this bump up, they're all in decline. And we see no improvement whatsoever. Right now, according to a poll, over 1,000 American adults, even with the Dow Jones at record highs, only slightly more than half of Americans, 52%, say they currently have money in the stock market, matching the lowest ownership rate in Gallup's 19-year trend. And when you look at the graph, we're at the lowest point right now. If we go back to 99, at that point, the trend was 60. At the height, it was 65. We're down to 52. That's how bad it is right now. And we see right now, the reason why fewer Americans have their money in the stock market. First of all, a lot of them sold them out of the market because they needed the money because they lost their jobs. And they're very nervous about what is going on here. They realize the system is rigged. But a lot of people know what's wrong in the economy. They know what's wrong in the government. They just can't put their finger on it. And we can see that people are getting more and more nervous. They're saying, okay, I'm hearing rumors in my workplace. Layoffs are occurring. You see your friends, your family members losing their jobs, and they're saying, am I going to be next? And people get very, very nervous and scared about this. And we see that people right now, they're saying, okay, something is wrong in this government. Something is wrong with what's going on here. It makes no sense whatsoever. Now, a lot of people wake up and they start listening to people and they say, okay, now I'm starting to understand. Other people, they're just lost in trying to understand what is going on here, and they never figure it out. But there's enough people right now that are waking up, and they're pushing back on the TTP. And what we're seeing right now is that people are saying, you know something, this TTIP and the TPP, it's not for the everyday person. So there are surveys out there which show that the TTIP in the United States and Germany, the support for it by the people is falling rapidly. Support for the transatlantic trade deal, known as TTIP, has fallen sharply in Germany and the United States. And when you look at the numbers, you see that 17% of Germans believe the transatlantic trade and investment partnership is a good thing, down from 55% 2 years ago. The same thing in the United States, where the numbers are, again, very identical to Germany's numbers. So it looks like people are pushing back, saying, okay, this is not for the people. And remember, this whole entire TPP, TTIP, it is for corporations. It's for the central bank. It's to make themselves very wealthy. Remember, what they're trying to do, and they're working very hard to do this, is continually make the United States and many of the private West and Central countries fascist dictatorships where government and corporations intertwine with each other. And we can see as this economy continually falters, as things do not improve, they come down harder and harder on the people, and they try to pass more and more laws that benefit themselves. And sometimes they don't listen to the people and they pass them any way they possibly can. And this is when the people say enough is enough. And we can see at this point, as the economy continually rips itself apart, the government, they're going to be more and more desperate in their actions, in what they do, and the laws that they pass. And we see it all across the world at this point. The private central bank countries, we see them passing a lot of draconian laws. And we see that a lot of the wealthy, they are protecting themselves. Government is protecting themselves. We hear about underground bunkers. We hear about faraway places with runways where they can fly their planes because they're very nervous about what is happening here. And they are preparing. They're getting ready. They understand what is going on. And this is why every single person needs to prepare and get ready. This is why you need a weapon. This is why you need gold and silver. And as you can see, gold and silver, it's getting much, much more difficult to continually suppress it, and gold is continually rising. You need food, you need supplies. If you haven't started, you can go to lifereliance.com. They have water filtration systems, they have bug out bags, you can customize your orders. But whatever you're doing, just continually do it, because as we've been mapping this, we see that the economy is in a slow decline. For many people, it's already collapsed because they've lost their jobs. They're having a very rough time. Others don't understand what's going on until it hits them. But we see that every person is in a different place. But what we do see is collectively that this whole system, as we report on it, is continually declining and declining and declining and not getting better. And it's in a one-way direction downward. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.